Have you ever wondered how wealth and faith coexist, or if they even should? A question that has sparked countless debates and yet remains as intriguing as ever. It's common to meet people who believe that wealth and faith are like oil and water, never meant to mix. They argue that faith calls for humility while wealth is a symbol of indulgence. But is this belief entirely accurate? Picture this: a world where wealth and faith are not at odds but are two sides of the same coin. Intriguing, isn't it? What if I told you that there's a guide that has been under our noses all along? Yes, you've guessed it right, it's the Bible. The good old book has a lot to say about wealth, and it's not all doom and gloom as you might expect. So let's dive into the sacred scriptures to uncover what they say about wealth. A common misconception is that the Bible condemns wealth, but is that really the case? As we delve into the pages of the Bible, we discover that it's not wealth itself that's the issue, but rather our attitude towards it. Let's start with Proverbs 10:22. The blessing of the Lord brings wealth, without painful toil for it. This verse suggests that wealth that comes as a blessing from the Lord doesn't involve struggle or hardship. It's not about chasing after riches, but about living in alignment with God's will, and His blessings will follow. Next, let's consider Ecclesiastes 5:19. Moreover, when God gives someone wealth and possessions and the ability to enjoy them, to accept their lot and be happy in their toil, this is a gift of God. This verse underscores the point that wealth is a gift from God, and it comes with the ability to enjoy it. It's not just about piling up possessions, but about appreciating and enjoying what we have. Lastly, the parable of the talents in Matthew 25:14-30 teaches us about the importance of using our God-given resources wisely. In this story, the master entrusts his servants with his wealth, and those who use their resources wisely are rewarded. The servant who hides his talent out of fear is reprimanded. This parable is a powerful reminder that wealth is not just to be hoarded, but to be used for good purposes. So what can we gather from these verses? Clearly, the Bible doesn't condemn wealth. Instead, it offers us guidance on how to view and handle wealth. It teaches us that wealth is a blessing from God, and it's meant to be enjoyed and used wisely. It warns us against the love of money, which can lead us away from God. Wealth, according to the Bible, should never be our ultimate goal, but rather a tool for doing good and serving others. As we can see, the Bible doesn't necessarily condemn wealth, but it does provide guidance on how to acquire and handle it. Wealth in the Bible is often seen as a blessing from God, but it also comes with a responsibility, doesn't it? It's a fascinating perspective, isn't it? You see, the good book doesn't view wealth as an evil, but rather as a tool that can be wielded for good or ill. Let's delve into this a bit more. Consider this passage from 1 Timothy chapter 6, verses 17-19. It reads, "Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. In this way they will lay up treasure for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life." In this verse, the Apostle Paul is not condemning wealth. Quite the contrary. He acknowledges that wealth is a blessing from God, one that is meant for our enjoyment. But he also calls for a certain perspective. Wealth is not to be our hope or our pride. It's not an end in itself. It's a means to an end, a tool that enables us to do good, to be rich in deeds, not just in material possessions. Now let's look at Proverbs 19, verse 17. "Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and He will reward them for what they have done." Here the Bible is clear about the responsibility that comes with wealth. It's not just about enjoying the blessing, but also about using it to bless others. The wealthy are called to be kind to the poor, to lend to the Lord by lending to those in need. And there's a promise that God will reward such generosity. Therefore, wealth is not just a blessing, but a trust from God that we should use wisely. It's a tool with which we can bless others, build our treasure in heaven, and truly enjoy life. So the next time you think about wealth, remember, it's not just about the blessing, but also the responsibility. So, how do we balance the pursuit of wealth with our faith? It's a question that has been pondered by many. The Bible offers a unique perspective on this, emphasizing the importance of balance and moderation. In the book of Proverbs, for instance, it reads, "Keep falsehood and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Otherwise I may have too much and disown you and say, 'Who is the Lord?' Or I may become poor and steal, and so dishonor the name of my God." Here the scripture advises against extremes, advocating for a balanced lifestyle instead. Furthermore, Hebrews chapter 13 verse 5 tells us, quote, "Keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have." This verse urges us to avoid greed and to find satisfaction in our current circumstances. In essence, the Bible encourages us to be content with what we have, while also striving to use our resources wisely. So, what have we learned about wealth from the Bible? Quite a bit, it turns out. We started by grappling with the paradox of wealth and faith, acknowledging that while wealth isn't inherently evil, it can be a stumbling block if we let it become our idol. We then delved into the biblical perspective on wealth, understanding that it's not the possession of wealth that the Bible condemns, but rather the love of money. Money in itself is neutral. It's our attitude towards it that can lead us astray. We explored the concept of wealth as both a blessing and a responsibility. If you're blessed with abundance, it's not merely for self-indulgence, but for stewardship, to be used for the betterment of others. Finally, we pondered on the delicate balance of wealth and faith, reminding ourselves that spiritual richness should always take precedence over material wealth. Remember, wealth is neither good nor bad, it's what we do with it that matters. So, let's strive to use our wealth wisely, as guided by these biblical principles.